Hey, and welcome to the Daily Mastermind. I'm Paul Baxter, Implementation Coach for the Mortgage Mastermind Group, and we are definitely here to help you grow. Guys, today we are talking or continuing our discussion on branding. Yesterday we spent a good little bit of time talking about what branding is and kind of giving you a new way to think about branding in terms of what it actually means. It's not about a logo. It's not about a color or an image or a catchphrase or tagline. What branding actually is the way that people feel when they see your name or when they see your face. That's what branding is the way people feel or react to something or a symbol of something when they see it. And so yeah, it can be part, you want them to see your cool colors and your neat logo, but you want that to elicit a feeling from people when they see it. And that's only done by letting them get to know you, becoming an expert, developing trust, and being available for them, as we talked about yesterday. And making sure that you understand like the rocket ship, that there's 3 stages to it, that first impression and that first conversation and what you do in terms of following up. Now that we know what branding is and what our brand is, are we an expert on FHA loans or 203K, or are we a specialist in staffing and helping people find jobs? What are we really good at, and what do we want to be known as? That's our brand. How do we want people to know us on a personal level? Do we want them to know that we're a father and a husband and that loves to fish and things like that? That's part of your branding. So today we're going to talk about, now that we know those things, how do we get that message out there? And we're going to kind of play a different sort of numbers game. We're not Coca-Cola. Brands like Coca-Cola, they've got to expose their brand to millions and millions of people every single day repetitively. Because if they do that, they know that they can grow their brand. Every now and then they'll get it in front of someone who may happen to be thirsty at that particular moment in time and think to themselves, you know what, a Coke does sound refreshing. I think I'll have one of those. But for a company like Z-Man, they're specific to Bates. They don't need to get in front of 1 million people. The only people they need to get in front of are people who fish, and then they can even further narrow down their target audience to people who fish in short, shallow waters. See the difference? We're playing a different numbers game. We're not looking for everybody out there in the entire city of Pittsburgh. I don't need to get in touch with everybody that lives in the entire Tampa Bay area. I only need to focus on the people who I want to understand and recognize my brand for what it is and want to do business with me because they know, trust, and like me based on that brand. So the first thing you must do before you start to get your brand out is identify who your target audience is. Who are the people that you want to see your brand? Remember, we've talked about this a few times. On any given day, there's 5 to 7% of our population who are in the market to buy a home. Identifying who those target 5 to 7% is our core task. That's who we want to get our brand in front of. Well, how do we get our brand in front of those people? A lot of times it's through real estate agent referral partners, right? That's a great target audience to brand yourself to because they have access to that 5 to 7% of people a little more readily than we do. We can go directly to the home buyers themselves, that 5 to 7%. That's who we want to focus our marketing on and put our brand in front of to elicit a feeling that makes them want to do business because they know, trust, and like us. Past clients. How many times have you guys heard us talk about marketing to your past clients? But marketing to your past clients is continuing your brand. It's not, you don't need to expose your brand to them right off the bat because they've already seen it, but what you're doing is you're keeping your brand fresh by the things that you do, your communications every 3 or 4 months, or sending them something in the mail that refreshes and re-solidifies your promise to deliver. Unclosed leads. Those are people who just haven't made a buying decision yet, and that can be for 1 million reasons. It could be that they don't know, trust, or like you yet, but it could also be that they're not in a financial position to do so. It could also be that they're in, they've got more questions that need to be answered. So if you continuously are branding yourself and exposing yourself as an expert and showing your expertise to those unclosed leads people, guess what's going to happen is eventually you're going to gain that trust. They're going to know that you're available because you're showing that side. You've got the expertise, trust, and availability. They're going to know that you're available to answer those questions when they have them and when they are in that market, when they get to that, what does Google call it, the ZMOT, to the zero moment of truth, and they make that buying decision. You're the person that they make that buying decision positive for. There's financial planners. Those are great partners, real estate attorneys, divorce attorneys, title company reps. We all know the value of partnering with title company reps. And one of my particular favorites is insurance company reps because they are every bit as hardworking and as diligent. They kind of remind me a lot of the loan officers in the way that they approach their business. They are willing to try and do things that are outside the box and in unique ways. And boy, those are great partners to have because their prospects are the same people. They want that mortgage insurance to go through them, and then they'll sell them on the life and the auto and the home, all the other different things. But those are great partners to have because they're they're looking for the same thing you are, and that's opportunities to get in front of more of that 5 to 7% of the buying population. So knowing your target, it eliminates the need to mass market. And I see there's a question on that last little piece there. Let me check that. Do you have a system or a game plan to attack the financial planners and divorce attorneys that you do not know today? You know what? We have not done a class on that, but I'm taking a note right here and now. And we will, in the future, do a class on that. That's a great idea. Because it's one of those strategies that it's untouched. Not very many people are approaching them, and it's there's always, as a marketer, as a business coach, I'm always looking for ways to help you differentiate yourself, and that's a great way to do it. So knowing your target eliminates the need to mass market in hopes of reaching the right person. I kind of equate it when I was selling direct mail back in the day. I used to tell my prospects that target marketing was far better in terms of direct mail. And yes, it may cost a little bit more money to have a more refined list, but what you're doing, instead of putting a carpet bomb out hoping to touch the doorstep of the person that you want to knock down, you're literally putting a smart bomb on the doorstep of the person that you know is your exact target. And that's what we're trying to do with your branding right here today as well, is we don't need to mass market. We don't need to cover the entire city. We just need to focus in on the people that we know are going to be the best match and are going to understand our branding and get a feeling from our message better than anyone else. So it's about focusing on who your target actually is, and that's going to allow you to focus your message in a much more concise manner and drive home what your brand represents and how you answer their needs. So remember that you must have, for branding a mortgage professional, the things we talked about yesterday: expertise, trust, and availability. Now, Lisa, for somebody that's maybe in the employment recruiting or in the staffing industry, some of the things that you need to make sure that you've got in your branding, I believe that expertise and trust are an absolute essential thing in your line of work as well. The companies need to trust that you're going to bring them the right employee. The employee needs to trust that you've got their best interest at heart and they're going to fit them with a company that best fits their strong suits or their skill sets. So those two things are very important. Availability, I got to believe that that's going to be one of your core assets as well, because the employers need to know that they're going to be able to get in touch with you when they have a need to fill, and that you're going to take care of that need for them. And the employees need to know that you're going to be able to fill that need for them as well. So I think it fits for your business as well, not just in the mortgage profession, but your business as well. Each target group is going to have a little bit different hot button. And so that's why when I say it allows you to focus your message in a much more concise manner, that's because each of those target groups, like your real estate agent partners, their hot button is going to be something very different than your consumers directly. Your financial planner may have a much different hot button in terms of how your brand will entice them to want to buy, and that's what partnerships are buying. That hot button that makes him want to take action or buy may be different than the divorce attorney is. But identifying your target and determining what that target's hot button or what their needs are will help you to more effectively drive your brand's message home. And so let's kind of look at each one of those in an individual manner. So for like a real estate agent referral partner, their needs would be more listings or help identifying sellers a little bit easier, being able to get more people to want to sell with them. Their needs may be better communication throughout the entire finance process. They've had bad experiences where the loan officer didn't call them for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and they're wondering, where the heck is my, what the heck's going on? You got to remember, when it comes to referral partner people, if you deconstruct the entire process, the whole thing with referral partnerships, what you are asking a real estate agent to do is to trust you with their paycheck. They don't get paid unless the house sells. The house doesn't sell unless the buyer gets financing, right? They're trusting you with their paycheck. Each and every referral is like them handing you a note saying, hey, can you please help me get paid for this home? That's what they're doing with each and every referral, and you have to have that mindset, right? And so when you're not communicating with them throughout that process, even just to say, hey, just wanted to let you know we're waiting on docs from the buyer. We've called them a call on this date and this date. We're just waiting on the docs from. Even when you do that kind of a communication, it lets them know that you know it's their paycheck that's at stake as well. I get it. It's your paycheck too. But you have to let them know that you understand that it's their paycheck that's at stake here. Big thing to make sure that you're doing, and that's why almost every real estate agent, a big need of theirs that you have the ability to care for is to communicate with them throughout the process. They have a big need for education on things like how the new FHA mortgage insurance rate changes are going to affect things in terms of approvals. Will it affect it at all? They need to know these things. So it's a perfect opportunity for you to show your expertise to your referral partners. They need education on things like what's the difference between a 203K streamlined and in full. They don't know these things. They know how to stage a home. They know how to describe the beautiful cabinetry and what the difference in the Lowe's cabinets and the ones that were bought that were handmade by the carpenter down the street. They know how to sell those things, but they don't know how to what the difference in a FHA 203K, what can and can't be done. They don't know the process, the length of time it takes, what all has to be in place. But you do, and they need education on that. They need to trust that their client's best interests are in mind, no matter how difficult a deal is. That's a big thing that allows a lot of lenders that I know to swoop in and I guess you could call it steal agents away. I've seen it happen a lot of times from people that I care about. That I've seen that happen to some of us that are on this call, where a loan officer will swoop in and steal the deal away. What tends to happen when we develop a relationship with a referral partner, and I hate to use the term, we tend to get fat and sassy. We get a little bit lazy with it. And what I mean by that is we tend to cherry pick the deals. They'll give us 3 or 4 leads, and one that may be borderline, that may be a little more difficult. Sometimes we take a shortcut. Ooh, I'm not going to be able to get this one approved, but these 2, I got you covered. We're going to work on these, knock out the easy ones, boom, boom, boom. Everybody's happy. The communication goes. Everything's good. But on the one that was stumbling, people are making phone calls, and they're all upset because I've got a 640 score and I have all my money, and they said I can't because my husband, for whatever reason. They need to trust that any and every referral you're going to do your very best opportunity on, and they need to trust that you're going to be upfront with them in terms of turnaround times. They're going to need to, they need to trust that you're able to do the loan side when they hand you the little piece of paper that says, hey, can you please help me get my paycheck this month, or can you please help me get paid for this? They need to trust that you're able to do that. So it's, you need to cover their needs in all aspects of the three things that make us, with the expertise, education. They need to know they can trust us. They need to know we're going to be available to them with communication. So answer to the needs of each of the groups of people. For a home buyer, they need education on all the options that are available to them. Don't just narrow in on what's going to make you the best commission. They need to be able to trust that you have their best interest in mind. And they also need to know that they can communicate with you throughout the process. That's a big thing for those buyers, especially those first-time buyers. I tell this story, and some of you on this call have actually heard this story. Some of you have been around me for a little while and have heard this story multiple times, but I'll tell it again. It's been 18 years now, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. And I've got that feeling inside me right now just thinking about telling this story of how humiliating and how horrible a buying experience I had when I bought my very first home. I was confused. I didn't know what was going on. I had no idea what I could and what I couldn't do. I never could. I don't know that I ever could get in touch with my loan officer. When I made a dial, I never ever once, it was like catching the same red light on a street on your way home every night. That's what would happen to me. Every time I'd call him, any question for anything. Hey, I got your check ready for you kind of stuff. I mean, anything. I never was able to get him on the phone. I mean, it was just a horrible, horrible experience. I felt like I was out of the loop. I was figuring out on my own. Nobody was there to help me. I'm calling my dad. My dad's telling me, get an attorney. I can't afford. Oh, it was a horrible experience because I didn't get communicated with. A little bit of simple communication would have set my mind at ease, and it would have been a wonderful experience buying that home because it was my first home, and that should be a good experience for everybody. For your past clients, number one thing for your past clients, folks, and this goes, and you guys can attest to this. We all feel this. We're human beings. They need to feel appreciated. They want to know that you appreciate their business. But you can do that repetitively and keep reiterating that feeling that you appreciate them, and they'll continue to trust you that their friends and family will be thankful for you referring them to them. So you got a couple of things going on there. You make them feel appreciated. They need education on opportunities to refinance, on opportunities when they're going to sell their home. What's that look like? How do they build education on how to build equity in their home? They need that kind of education, and you can provide that to them. And I already said they need to trust that their friends and family are going to be thankful that they referred you, as opposed to, man, I can't believe you referred me that guy. The unclosed leads. Excuse me. The unclosed leads is a very special group that is really easy to allow you to brand yourself, especially as that expertise part, and really kind of gain trust. And once you've done that, when they get to that zero moment of truth, you're going to have a great opportunity. But they need education on why buying is better than renting. Great thing to put in front of them that's going to help brand you as an expert and gain that trust. They need education on how to get in position to obtain a mortgage. They need to know they can ask any question they have and know that you're going to be able to answer that for them. They need that open communication. They need to know that you're available to them to answer those questions. And they need to trust that you're going to guide them by providing them accurate information to achieve their goal of owning a home, not with your best commission check in mind, but with their best interest, what's right for their family. They need to trust you on that to make that move, to get them to that zero moment of truth. Your financial planners, and as I said, that's a different group altogether. They need to trust that you have their client's best interest at heart. Number one, that is their number one thing, is that you care about their client as much as they do. They need education on how folks can use 203Ks to create instant equity in their homes. You know, that's what they're all about, is helping them build their money, helping them gain more wealth. Do some educating to your financial planners about how FHA 203Ks can really help somebody take an investment property and turn it into instant equity right off the bat and really double or triple your investment incomes. They need education on how reverse mortgages actually work, because I'll tell you right here and now, and a couple of you can attest to this from your meetings and your opportunities. Maybe Peggy, maybe you had this conversation. I know Peggy just got to class a little bit late today because she was having lunch with a financial planner partner prospect today, but I know they have a lot of myths and don't fully understand the way that reverse mortgages actually work, especially in the realm of the HECM for purchase reverse mortgage. So educate those financial planners on that. It shows your expertise. It shows that you have their clients' interest at heart, because you're showing them a way that they can stretch that 20-year retirement out to 35 plus years. They need that education, and they need to know that they can communicate with you about their clients' needs. They want to know that when they call you, you know that it's about Ethel and Freddie, and you're going to be right there to answer their clients' needs. They need to know that that's open communication for you. Peggy says, you know, when that screen came up, I kicked myself for not bringing that topic up. It will definitely be on the list for our next meeting. Awesome. It's a great thing for you to, educate them, because that shows that you're an expert on that, and you can, hey, I want to make sure, do you understand all the rules and regulations about how HECM, a reverse mortgage, can help, seniors purchase a home and have equity, and all these different things, and give them a place to live and really stretch out their retirement for another 15 to, plus years. It's a great way to approach them, because now you're talking to them about ways that they can service their clients in a better way. Now we're talking on equal terms. We're talking about the same client and how that financial planner can service their needs. Good stuff. Real estate attorneys and attorneys, you're going to find that the attorneys are typically the same, but the real estate attorney needs to trust that you have their client's best interest at heart first and foremost again, but they need to know that they can communicate their client's needs to you efficiently, and they need to know you will communicate any and all correspondence to them, not directly to the client, that you're going to, when you're partnering with real estate attorneys and they refer, you've got to make sure that you're going directly through those attorneys. They're freaks about that. That's something that it's an ego thing, I believe. I'm not really positive about it. But when you're working with an attorney side of things as a referral source, always make sure that before if you're doing status updates, call that attorney first in the updates, and then everybody else, the attorney that referred you, especially if it's in a referral situation. If you're working with the client and it's a referral from an attorney source of any kind, make sure that that is the first call on any status updates, any communications, because that's an ego thing with the attorneys. They'll get really upset. I'm not an attorney. I don't get it myself, but I have noticed that is something that is real, and it's something you want to make sure that you're thinking about. Just kind of focus on, make sure they're the first ones called, no big deal. But that makes them feel good, and it lets them know that you understand that where they are in the hierarchy, and it makes them feel as if you're putting them upon a pedestal in terms of the way that the transaction's going. When people hire a real estate attorney, they're typically doing so because of a bad experience in the past. I know that the first thing when I went to buy my first house, the first thing my dad told me was to hire a real estate attorney. Well, and I had talked to several other people who told me that I didn't need to do that, and I'd love to hear you guys' opinion on that. What do you guys think? But I was always told, growing up, and I always used to, anybody on this call familiar with Bruce Willits? Bruce Willits. He died, I want to say, 4 or 5 years ago. He was a radio personality, national radio personality, talk show radio. kind of like Suze Orman is now, but he was the first one to do it, Bruce Willits. He used to say the same thing on his radio show when people would call in talking about, I'd like to buy a house, is this the right time to do it? He would always tell them, first thing you need to do is get a real estate attorney. And I think that's where my stepdad got it from. But they want to feel like they're at the top, at the hierarchy of the whole transaction when they're involved in the transaction. That's the point of make sure that you're getting in touch with them. Make sure that they're in the loop. That is a big thing for them. They need education on finance qualifications as they change. When things like, the FHA comes out with new mortgage insurance rates, or as Peggy's video was showing yesterday, there's some new interest rates qualifications through Fannie Mae that she's got access to. When things like that happen, that's a perfect opportunity for you to call and inform the attorney. Hey, didn't know if you heard the news, wanted to make sure you heard, and because I know you're always on top of these things, but here's what's going on. Give them that little education, because that's going to give you, it's difficult to show expertise with the attorneys because they tend to, they're educated. They know their stuff. They're not in this business for no reason. They know their stuff. And so they typically aren't looking for that type of education, on programs and things like that. But when there's new things that come down, make sure that that's your opportunity to show your level of expertise too, that you're in tune and you know that they would be in tune with it too and understand what it means in terms of these things. So important to know. Divorce attorneys, again, number one thing with attorneys is need to trust their client's best interests, that you have their client's best interests at heart. They need education on all of the programs that are available to their clients. They're divorce attorneys. Their specialty is making sure that the assets are split correctly, making sure that the financial affidavits are filled out correctly to determine if there's any alimony or child support or palimony it's not palimony, that's if you're not married, right? But if they're experts in the divorce side of things. They're not experts on how an FHA 203K loan can help a divorced woman be able to purchase a $70,000 home and finance it for $125,000, and therefore she's got $65,000 to renovate and redo the entire home and make it the home of her dreams. They need education on those things. They need to know that they can communicate their clients' needs to you efficiently, and again, with the attorneys, they need to know you will communicate any, not and, I meant any and all communications with them regarding their client. Everything. Again, they want to know that they're at the hierarchy. Call them before any status updates and those types of things. But divorce attorneys, and yes, James, as from your question earlier, we are definitely going to do, I'll put together a good class. It won't be, we're going to stay focused on the branding for the next few weeks here, but we will definitely in the near future, we'll do a class all about a specific divorce attorney and financial planner strategy, so that you know exactly how to approach them, what to say, how to start it off, how to brand yourself to them so they see you as an expert. Make sense? These are the things that we'll focus on with them, is how to make sure that they know that you'll have their client's best interest at heart. How to make sure that we're educating them on the things that are important to them to be able to know. I really don't think so. I don't believe so, James. Title company reps, they need education for their partner prospects, not themselves. They could care less what an FHA 203K loan does for them. They don't care how that works. They don't care about the interest rate falling on the mortgage insurance for an FHA loan. That's not their concern, but they know that their partner prospects, the people who are their clients, the people that are going to get them involved, the people where they make their money, are very interested in that. So they need education for their partner prospects, because they don't have the information. They need somebody that has it for them. To make them an expert, they need an expert. So you can brand yourself as an expert to them, and they'll share you with their other friends. Remember, we talked about that in yesterday's class. the impression that our personal brand makes on the people that we're in direct communication with absolutely affects the people that they're directly associated with. And so our brand tends to grow, and it can help brand other people in the same way. And that's what that is. So they need to trust that you know your stuff. So they need to trust that if they're going to tell their realtor partners, hey, yeah, you need some education on this, you need to see my guy this, he'll be able to tell you all about it. If they're going to do that sort of thing, or if they're going to fill a room up with real estate agents so that you can come in and do a presentation, they need to know that you know your stuff. They need you to be an expert. They need to trust that you're an expert. They need help identifying their targets just like real estate agents. So they need help with identifying who the top real estate agents are. If you can help them do that or show them that you're an expert in that and make yourself available to help them with it, boy, that goes a long way with branding yourself as that cool person or branding your personal branding with title rep companies. They need to know you will communicate to them any opportunities. Hey, there's a brand new agency just opened up. Make sure you get down there. You want to check out Bill and let him know that Paul told you to come down and check him out. They want to know that you're going to refer them every bit as much as they're going to refer you. They know that you don't get a lot of title referrals, but they want to know that you're going to refer them to some of your agents, and it's going to be a mutually beneficial relationship. They need to know that they can trust you to share your successes with them. Share the referral sources. Make sense? So if they're going to partner with you because they trust you, they know that you're an expert, and they know they can communicate with, they want to know that they can trust you're going to share in the referrals as well. The insurance company reps need education for their partner prospects as well. Again, they need the homeowner to want to have to get mortgage insurance so that they can sell them the other products. So they need education for the real estate agent partners so that they're being seen as an expert as well. They need to know you'll communicate opportunities. Again, they want to know that you're going to call them when there's an opportunity for another presentation with a group of real estate agents. They want to know that you're going to hook them up too or contact them for those opportunities. They need to trust that you're going to share your success with them as well, meaning referrals are going to trickle downhill on both sides. And you can have multiple partners. They're going to have multiple partners. That's okay. But make sure that you're sharing with the successes. So you've gone out, you've identified your target. You know who your target is. It's real estate agent partners, let's say, for the sake of this class. You've identified what's important to that target. I know that to my target, what's important, what they need are more listings. They need education on programs. They need open communication, and they need to trust that I'm going to be able to get them that paycheck when they hand me that note asking me to help them, right? So now there's nothing left to do but to tell the target how you can deliver those needs. How is it that you can do that for them? How can you help them get more listings? How are you going to communicate better with them? How are you going to instill trust that you're going to bring their paycheck to them when they give you that opportunity? There is a lot of ways to tell your targets. You can do it when telling your targets. You got to remember how your brand creates impact in 3 different stages, kind of like that rocket. Remember we kind of talked about that earlier. There's the first impression, there's the initial conversation, and there's the follow-up on that first impression. Whether it's a simple email to your targets or a video on a landing page, make sure that it looks good. That first impression's got to look, you've got to look the part. You don't want to be wearing a ball cap and a tank top in your video talking about the value of a 203K streamline loan for those minor things like hardwood floors and replacing the appliances. You want to have an image in your email, a nice headshot. You want something visual in your email. If you're gonna do an email campaign instead of like a video campaign, have something visual in your signature line, Let them see who you are, because getting that first impression, letting them see your professionalism, that initial, yep, he fits the part, is a big part of your branding. Don't forget about it. Dress nicely in your videos to send the right message to your people. Again, that you fit the part. If you're going to do like a direct mail campaign, make sure you're using colorful cards and flyers. Don't just do like a plain old black and white kind of stuff. Make them colorful. Even if you're making your own, use a lot of big, vibrant colors to stand out. You want to show that you're fitting the part. In the initial conversation, and this does not mean just sitting face-to-face conversations. Your email to them is a conversation. Your video is a conversation. Your social media posts and engagement, those are all conversations that you're having with your targets. And so in those initial conversations, you want to focus on developing rapport by addressing the viewer's needs first. Right up front, address what their needs are. Say that you know what their needs are in that initial conversation. This is what I offer, and this is why my offer benefits you, and this is how you can take advantage of my offer. And if you notice with those three things, notice how that formula covers expertise, trust, and availability. This is what I offer. Here's what I'm an expert on. My offer benefits you in this way, and that's a trust thing. You're letting them know that, hey, you're going to benefit because you're going to save a lot of money, or you're going to make more money because you're getting more listings, Mr. Agent. And this is how they can take advantage of the offer. Well, you're just saying right up front how to get in touch with you to make this happen. You want these more listings. You want to get the more listings like I talked about, Mr. Agent? All you got to do is pick up the phone and call me. I'm always available to talk to you. So it covers all those things, and it allows you to brand yourself in that initial conversation. You're looking to build that rapport right off the bat. That's what that's for. And then there's the follow-up. And I put the image right on top. You guys have heard me say this 1,000 times before, and it bears repeating right here and right now. Consistency is the key. Consistency is definitely the key. And I'm going to tell you guys this right here, and some of you have heard me say it once, some of you have heard me say it a few times. Don't do anything. Don't send an email. Don't write a card. Don't do a video if your intent is to only send it one time and sit back and wait for the phone to ring because you did an awesomely branded one-time video and sent it out there. If you're thinking that doing one email written really, really nicely with a cool image of yourself and it covers what you do, how it makes you an expert, and you've developed or delivered a little bit of trust in there because you're showing them what it benefits them, and you're telling them exactly what to do, that you're available to talk to them about it at any time, and you only do it that one time and you're waiting for your phone to ring, it's not going to work. It just isn't. Consistency is the key. You must deliver your message to your target consistently to get them to take action. Remember, what taking action is a sale, whether it's a referral partner agreeing to a face-to-face with you, whether it's a referral partner referring you some business, or it's a buyer reaching out saying, hey, I need a mortgage, I'm looking to buy a house. It's a sale. Only less than 10% of sales take place on the first 3 contacts. The other 90% of sales take place from contacts 3 through 12. Sales statistics, they do not lie. You can't change them, you can't fabricate them, and that's what this is whole. And bear with me, Jim, and I'm gonna get to that. I'll go through the rest of the presentation. I want to read that, and I want to talk about that what you wrote here, and let's talk about that. So again, you must deliver your brand to targets consistently, because remember, your brand is how they feel when they see you. A feeling to take action on your brand is built with consistently delivering the message that can deliver on your promise to take care of their needs. It's about consistency. You've got to be consistent with your message. So presentations are a great way to brand yourself as an expert. And we've done some of those classes really recently. And I got a little picture here to show you all the different class. You know, there's a lot. We spent the whole month last month covering presentations that you guys well remember. Great way to brand yourself as an expert. Great way to consistently get in front of a group of people over and over and over again to create trust. You always have that call to action to show your availability. And just have a good follow-up plan in that continuously branding yourself. Great way to brand yourself as an expert. Incorporate these ideas on branding into your existing email and direct mail and phone calling campaigns. So, you know, the follow-up formula that we talked about a few months ago. Incorporate these branding ideas into that. Always be thinking about how can you show yourself as an expert, gain trust, and show your availability with each and every one of your existing already stuff you've got going out. You know, something like Alan, I get your invitation all the time, and I absolutely love it. I get your face in it. It's awesome. Incorporate some of these branding ideas into it. Now, I get your face in things already, but maybe change up the template every other month or so just to give it a fresh look and change the way people are seeing it to reiterate a difference. You know, maybe add maybe a little different call to action. You know, hey, I'm seeing who's paying attention today. You know, the first 3 people to email me back, I'm buying you lunch. You know, add some different things that reach out and let them know the availability factor is also part of it. So fun things to do, though. Incorporate branding, these branding concepts into the things that you're currently doing. Use social media to promote your personal brand. Guys, I can't tell you how important your personal brand is. It's essential. You absolutely have to be thinking about your personal side of your brand too, because remember, your brand is who you are both professionally and personally. And social media can help with both, but focus on the personal side on social media side, especially when it comes to Facebook. Now on LinkedIn, you can focus on the business side of things, but let's face it, there is 99.99% more people on Facebook than there is on LinkedIn, and it's much more social. And that's why people are there, is for the social aspect. They want to connect with each other. They want friends. They want to engage on a personal level. So connect with your targets on social sites and engage with them. Just, hey, how you doing? Oh, what a great picture of your fish. Because you never want to see people and them turn around, oh, God, here comes Paul. We get to talk about interest rates and mortgage loans now. Oh, boy. You never want people saying that about you, that's all, you know, you're a one-trick pony. That's all you got. That's all he ever does. Talk about oh, great. Here we go. We get to talk about, you know, mortgages again. Yay. You never want people to say that about you. You want to be engaging, so have different interests. Let them know you're a mortgage expert, but then let them know you're a pretty cool person too with a lot of other interests. Let people, that's a big part of your branding, is to get the personal aspect going. Now, I will say this, and my good friend Jeff Kirkpatrick is not on the call with us today, or he would absolutely love this. Some of you have heard me say this before. Some of you have dabbled in implementing this. There is one thing that, if done correctly, does more for your personal branding than anything else you could possibly do. Does anybody know what I'm getting ready to say here? I'm going to pause a minute and give you all a chance to answer that. Does anybody know what I'm getting ready to say? No one's going to take a stab? Well, once I show it, you're all going to be like, oh, well, of course he's going to say that. Bill Rogers hit the nail right on the square of the head. Bing! That was Bill Rogers hitting the nail on the head. That is absolutely correct, Bill Rogers. Video marketing. If you do video marketing correctly, there is hands down no single better way to brand yourself, to get your brand exposed, and to get people to take action on your brand. That's a big thing that I want to differentiate. Yes, you can get your brand out there pretty doggone well with Facebook posting and stuff like that. Pretty good, easy to do. You can get your brand out there pretty doggone well with email campaigns and direct mail campaigns. I'm going to tell you right now, it's pretty easy to do. You can do that. You can get your brand out there. You can get your message out. But getting people to take action on your branding and on your message, getting people to take action on your branding, there is no better way, hands down, than with video marketing, if it's done correctly. If it's not done correctly, the unfortunate thing about video marketing is that if you don't do it correctly, you will get absolutely zero impact from it. And it could be something. So first, let's talk about what does video marketing correctly look like. Bill, you want to answer that for me too? You guys know what I'm about to say. Video marketing, the secret, the gold in the hills. You want to know where the gold lies in the hill? It lies in the consistency. Has nothing to do with how pretty you are. Has nothing to do with what you're saying, quite frankly. And that's the part that took me a while to figure out and took me a while to learn my lesson on. It doesn't have anything to do with what you're saying. It does. Your message is almost secondary in it. It's the consistency. It's delivering you yourself, where they get to see you, hear your voice, see your lips delivering the words that you're saying over and over again. It builds trust. It builds loyalty. It builds credibility. It's expertise. And if you have the right action call, if you say this is how you can take advantage of it the right way, and if you're doing it consistently, you will get people to take action. Now, I got to be honest with you, that is a lesson I have learned a very, very hard way. I'm just being straight up. You know me, guys. I'm always honest with you. I learned that lesson the hard way because when we first started, when Chad and I first started with Mortgage Mastermind Group, being frank, I did a video here. I did another one a couple weeks later. We did a recording and made it available and sent that out. A couple weeks later, did another one. Maybe a month later, another one. I got absolutely zero impact, and I'm sitting there scratching my head. I could not figure out. Don't get me wrong. I got people to sign up for the class and watch the class and stuff, but no one would take action on the action step of the, you know, the little things we were doing. Once in a here, a couple here. And I'm like, man, is my message not strong enough? Is it the message? Is the class too long? So I started editing and cut. Still nothing. And then how many of you guys started noticing about the middle part of November, I started doing a thing and posting, and some of you get the email for it called the Quick Hit. Anybody on the call? Some you guys are on different lists on the member sites. So some of you may have seen it on Facebook. You may not have gotten the email for it. But how many of you gotten, maybe you've seen the Quick Hit? So what the Quick Hit is just me doing a little technical know-how, a little step-by-step techie hit tip that I keep them. My goal is to keep them under 5 minutes. And it's just me. Hey, folks, good to see you. So, James, let me exit out of here real quick. Let me show you what I'm talking about. That's our page right there. So if you scroll down on my page, you'll see one that's a little video. It's an image of a video of me. So it looks like a video. If you go to there and click the link, that takes you to a page called mortgagemastermindgroup.com/quick hit. Okay? And that's it's just a little tip that we're doing, that I do, and it's I'm trying to keep it very technical, because I know that's a big part of what people need the most education for are the technical things. How do I SEO my video? How do I download this? How do I get my custom audience going? Things like that. And I started doing it consistently. And after about the third or fourth week in a row of doing it, all of a sudden I started noticing the action steps started happening. People were setting up appointments. People were, the numbers on the website clicks and things like that were increasing, engagement from the post and people sending messages and things like that. and evidently a couple of people have even commented that my most recent one, I look like Captain Kirk. I looked like Captain Kirk on the video, which it's fun. I like the comments. It's engagement. I laughed it, and I think it's awesome. That's great. That doesn't bother me in the slightest because it lets me know they're having fun with it, and that's what it's about for me. And again, what I've noticed is it doesn't make a lick of difference what I'm saying in the video at all. But I noticed after about 3 or 4 weeks of that, I started getting some action steps. And then I started noticing that the action steps were turning into, I've gotten like a couple of random signups on the program just out of nowhere that I didn't normally have. And so what I'm noticing is that the consistency is working. And this past week I didn't do one, and I noticed that all of a sudden, instantly, no appointments, nothing's happened. So that I missed one time on my consistency, and it all went for crap. Right there, I missed one time on my consistency, and it all kaput, done. That's it. I got nothing this week for appointments. Because I missed on my consistency, you guys. Not because my content wasn't great or I didn't have a great call. None of that has anything to do with it. I missed on being consistent. So all of that credibility that I had built up over the last month and a half, guess what? I got to start from zero again. I got to start from zero again, and that's why that's why I say, I learned it the hard way, guys, and I wanted you to take it from me. Don't miss, because again, the unfortunate thing about video marketing is that if you don't do it correctly, you will get absolutely zero impact from it. Let me say that one more time just to reiterate. The unfortunate thing about video marketing is that if you don't do it correctly, you get absolutely zero impact from it. And I know this for fact now. I absolutely know it for fact. But with consistency, it will give you the absolute best way of branding yourself. It'll do more for growing your brand than anything else you can do. So for video to be effective, you need to do 2 very specific things. So Bill, on my videos, I record my screen with GoToMeeting. I just use GoToMeeting because I have the account for GoToWebinar. I just record from my GoToMeeting thing, so I cheat a little bit. What is the correct way to do it? The correct way to do video marketing let me show you that one more time, is consistently. Again, I cannot reiterate, James, it doesn't matter what you're saying in it. It doesn't matter how pretty you look. You want to look the part. Remember, it goes back to that first impression. You want to look the part. You want to look okay. But you don't have to be a pretty person for video marketing to work effectively. I don't need to be Brad Pitt for that to work. You just have to be consistent. It doesn't matter what you're saying. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter how pretty you are. What matters is if you're delivering your message consistently. That's where the credibility is going to come from, and that's where people will start to take action. So in order to do video effectively, correctly, you need to do two things. Two things and two things only. Everybody ready for the two things? And that's the thing. You don't really care if they open the email. You don't care if they click on it on Facebook. If you put it out consistently, I noticed the first one that I did back in last week, just before Thanksgiving was when I started the quick hit thing. The first one I did, I had 4 people watch the whole dadgum video. James, I had 4 people watch the whole damn video. And 2 of them were my wife and my son. Nobody watched the first, but I sent it out again the next week. I sent the next one out the next week. You know what? That's not sad because I knew that's what's going to happen. And now that I've missed one, remember I said I got to start all over from scratch again because I missed on my consistency now. So I'm starting again. I'm not going to be surprised when I send my quick hit out on Monday this coming week that I would be surprised if I have more than 5 or 10 people watch that video. And the thing is it takes time to build that consistent. You've got to build up. I've got to build my brand with it, and they didn't know me. There was no credibility, no trust, no nothing when I sent that first one. Then I sent the second one, got a few more people, then the third, fourth, fifth, sixth. And then people started watching and commenting and saying, hey, thanks, that was great. And you know what happened then? They went to my YouTube channel and started watching some of the older ones and saying, hey, that was great. Thanks for sharing that. Because I started to build trust with them because they were seeing I was doing it consistently and it wasn't just a flash in the pan, this is a one-hit wonder guy, screw it, blah. So you can't worry about how do you get them to actually open the email? You send it to them over and over and over again. Every single week, every Monday at the same exact time. Not Monday for you, but I'm just saying every week at the same exact time. The same day, you send that thing, you send the new one, you send the new one, you keep sending it, and eventually, as our good friend Alan likes to say, you'll buy enough brain cells that they open that sucker up. What length of time would you recommend? Like less than a minute? And here I'm going to speak on that. The 2 things you need to focus on to be effective with your video. The number 1 thing that you must do if you're going to do an effective video marketing strategy is you must block out a specific day and a specific time within that day that you are not available. Point blank period. You absolutely must do it to get your video done every week. And once a week is the minimum. That's where consistency is. Every single week you've got to do it. And in order to do that, I promise you this, if you do not have a specific day and a specific time that you have, that everybody at your office, all of your realtors, you know yourself, you don't set appointments, you don't take calls, your wife knows not to bother you during that time, your kids don't bother you during that time, you know that the processor knows that, oh, wait, it's Friday, it's Friday between 2 and 4 o'clock, dang, I'm going to leave James a message because I know after 4 o'clock he'll get back to me. But between Friday, that day, that specific time, come hell or high water, you are focused on getting that video recorded, set up, and done. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You absolutely must block that time. Okay? Get your message delivered in as short amount of time as possible to deliver your entire message. And so what that means is, here's the thing, you are going to lose your audience. What I do on my tips, I try to keep them under 5 minutes because I'm doing a full technical tip. depending on what you're sending to them, you don't want to ramble on is what I'm saying. You don't want to repeat the same thing 2 or 3 times to get your point across. Say what you got to say and be done with it. But always remember to give them a way to talk about you. All right, so focus on the right target. Tell those targets how you can take care of their needs, consistently deliver on your promise, and that's going to help you make lots of money. And I see a bunch of questions came in, actually. Let's see what we got. On length of time. Okay, so again, length of time, I spoke on that a little bit, James. The length of time is determined on how quickly you're able to legibly and concisely deliver your message to its entirety without repeating it. You just don't want to ramble. You want to make short and sweet is always the best policy. A specific time, it doesn't matter. 2 minutes is what they say people's attention span is, but the reality is here's what I've learned about video marketing. You can make your video a minute. You can make your video 10 minutes. You're going to get the same amount of engagement and the same reaction whether it's 1 minute or 10 minutes. Very few people there's a very, very select few people that are only those that are super, super engaged or very interested in a specific topic are going to listen to the entire or watch the entire video. Most are going to click on it, watch it for 30 or 40 seconds, maybe fast forward it to the end, but for the most part close it at that point, and then send you a message, say, oh, what a great video, that was awesome, you look like Captain Kirk. So all you got out of that thing is I look like Captain Kirk. I bet you $1 dude didn't watch the whole video, and I'm fine with that. I don't care. It's not about whether or not they watched all 5.5 minutes or 6 minutes of that video. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I deliver it on a consistent basis and I get the impact, I get the engagement out of it that I wanted to. So what I have learned is that all these statistics about how long your video and this and that and the other thing, it doesn't matter. That's not where video marketing is helping us in our business. Where it's helping us in our business is in terms of branding, showing us as an expert, and getting people to see us and differentiate us from the other lenders around. And through consistency, it gives us an opportunity to create more business. If I send it through Weebly, is there a free system to know if they opened the video and how long they watch it? Not that I know of, James, not that I know of. And quite frankly, if I had a system that showed me who opened the video, who watched the video, and how long they stayed on it, I would make it a point not to look at that information. Because then I'd be like, well, golly, James watched the whole video, but Jim didn't watch the video. What's going on? Why didn't Jim watch the video? James did. Man, Lisa doesn't like me anymore. She didn't even watch my video this week. Or dang, Peggy watched the video but was only on there 30 seconds. That's a 5.5-minute video. I worked hard on that. I don't want that feeling in myself, so I don't want to know who watched it and how long they were on it. I just don't want to know. I just don't want to know that information because I get pissed. You know, I'd be like, Peggy, what the hell? You're not watching my videos? What's up? You know what I mean? And I don't want that feeling. I would rather not know. I want to go into it just saying, you know what? I put a great video out, and I'm going to assume that Peggy watched it because it was a great video. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send her another one next week just to make sure. All right, so Jim's got a great question here, and we're going to wrap up with this one because it's a long one. So bear with me 1 second. I'm going to read it aloud, guys. So these are all great ideas for referral partners. Well, what about introducing one brand directly to consumers? When we market potential partners, they will always be the middleman between us and the borrower. Nothing is stronger than bringing the qualified prospect to the potential partners. But how can we use this information to place ourselves directly in the path of the consumer? For example, a zip code that has 50,000 residents, 18,000 own homes of a targeted value that should need refinancing or purchase money every 7 years, that's approximately 2,500 prospects every year. Can we effectively reach these prospects, or is it just too expensive? And we must abandon them for the Chase Fargo Citibanks and make big marketing budgets. This is important, I think, for those starting out that don't have the lot of past clients as someone like myself whose past clients have aged out of the market. And you know, that's a great question, Jim, and the reality of it is you can do that. You absolutely can focus on the consumers and the concepts of your branding. You know, we kind of talked about it, about clients directly, home buyers. What's important to a home buyer? You know, understand who your target is, including the home buyer, or unclosed leads. Unclosed leads is a good one, as well as the home buyer one that we talked about. Understanding their needs and brand the same way that you would. The difficulty there, Jim, is in how you find that target. Remember, it's all about how, instead of doing what Coca-Cola does, which, as you can agree, it costs millions of dollars for them to put their brand in front of millions of people in hopes of finding that one thirsty customer that thinks a Coca-Cola looks refreshing. We want to more narrow down our search. We've got a dart that we need to hit the bullseye with it. In that bullseye, we don't know exactly where that bullseye is. Make sense? So when you talk about the 2,500 prospects every year within your market area that are available every year, you're talking about a large budget to find out who they are, unless you utilize the branding opportunities that we talked about. Make sure that you're addressing, you know, think about the niches in your area. 2,500 prospects every year in your area. My guess would be that of those, probably 1,500 of them are first-time home buyers that are currently renters. Or let's say your area, you know, my specific area has, what was it, 90,000 renters currently. Well, I know that I can place an ad in front of those, and it may cost me $6 or $7 for each person that clicks my ad, but I know that the people who are clicking my ad are people that are understanding and recognizing my message. So branding yourself directly to the consumer is always going to cost more money than branding yourself directly to a partner who can put you in front of a consumer. Partners have ulterior motives, whereas consumers are self-motivated. So it's always going to cost more money, but it doesn't have to break the bank. You can use things like the demographics within Facebook. You can use things like the business-to-business strategy, where you do commercials with local businesses and get them to share them with their local databases and just get it out there the way that a Coca-Cola would do, and hope that somebody in the business sees it. The dilemma with that type of strategy, Jim, is that it's a long-term strategy. The dilemma with that type of strategy is that it's also an expensive strategy. And therefore, it's always going to be easier to focus on referral partners as a way to build our businesses quickly, because we know that 90%, 88% of buyers, home buyers, are going to target a real estate agent as their second step in the home buying process. We're not going to change the mindset of people. They get excited. They see a house online. They call the agent. They want to see the home. They forget about, oh, we should probably figure out if we can buy this home financially or not. But we're not going to change that mindset. So it's important for us to remember that, yes, we can do these things like target consumers, but it's always going to take more time and cost more money. So we can do it, Jim. It's just you got to kind of, when it comes to that, a brand and a marketing campaign, if you look at it as a cost, then it's something that can be a deterrent to you. But if you look at it as a revenue center, then it can be something that is exciting, like creating a strategy where we do target directly the consumer and understand that the cost involved is a direct investment as opposed to a hard cost. Make sense? All right, my friends, have a fantastic day. I know we ran a little bit long. I guess we made up for running a little bit short yesterday, so have a great day, everybody. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow right here. Right here. Right here, same time, same channel. Have a great day. We'll see you on the flip side.